A Killer Paradox. Great name, brand new Korean crime thriller just hit Netflix. We're going to talk about it. What's up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to the channel. Some of my favorite shows on the platform are Korean shows, so I can't wait to talk about the first one that I've seen this year, and that is A Killer Paradox. Let's do it.
내 인생에 반격 같은 건 선택지 없었다.
So a very ordinary university student accidentally kills a drunk man. He's terrified that his life could be ruined, but it turns out this man has been wanted for the last 4 years. So we get caught up in a bit of a cat and mouse chase, but also a main character who takes this idea and tries to apply it further, and this is one of those stories that you're going to have to be locked into because there's so much going on. This is a crime drama or a crime thriller at its core, but there are various genres that come into play, including comedy. There's quite a bit of humor in this show, but also mystery. There are several mysterious elements at play, and it all really starts with our main character, Choi Woo-Sik, who does a spectacular job of coming across as someone who really just doesn't care about anything. And I know that sounds bad, but he's living this life that it doesn't seem all that thrilling. He got out of the military, he's working at this convenience store, and people coming in and out and just taking advantage of the poor guy who's trying to be as nice as he possibly can, but he is constantly being battered by others around him, and he gets to a point to where he just can't take it anymore. There's a lot of things to spoil here, but the basic premise tells us that our main character accidentally kills someone, and it goes on to be discovered that that someone is important. I don't want to spoil things beyond that, but that is where we start. And so it's this guy who finally lashes out, but he goes overboard. Doesn't know he's going overboard at the time, and it leads to these stakes and consequences that really ramps up what the story actually is. Then you have this detective who discovers something about the first person murdered, and it leads both of our main characters to make decisions and consistently feel the consequences all throughout the series. And I don't want to tell you what our main character goes on to continue to do, even though you could probably find that in a summary somewhere online, but it makes for a fascinating show, and one that was a lot to keep up with at times. Admittedly, as interesting as this all was, there is a lot that every character that we are involved with gets caught up in, and that makes things seem overly complex, eventually a little convoluted, but part of me liked that because the intrigue was high, the mystery was real, and this detective type story mixed with the crime dramatic thriller feel worked at the end of the day.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's just the story. There's a lot going on with that story that we're trying to keep up with throughout. The mystery and the intrigue is keeping us on board, but what we really can latch on to, the visual aspect of this show. If they nail that, then the whole show becomes an experience. And the visuals were a little sporadic. We are flashing back and forward, and we're going into the past, and we're going into these other storylines happening, and the way that they construct that visually was, again, a little confusing at times. I was struggling trying to keep up with the narrative, but as I was piecing it together, figuring out, okay, what's actually happening? What's a flashback? What is he imagining right now and the situation that he's in? Is it really this dire? And so you piece that together, and it makes for a really just a distinct experience. And I'm not going to sit back and say the entire thing felt like it meshed together perfectly, but I really like the style of this show. I was in it with the main characters and some of these side stories that come along that feel like they're a little distracting. Maybe that's my fault for binging this show. It feels like one that if you take your time with it, maybe spread out the episodes as you're watching, even though you're going to want to know what's about to happen next. I think that could serve you just a bit better. And I keep thinking to myself, without this visual style, and if it wasn't edited together in this way, would I be as riveted as I am while watching? Would I be as invested in Lee Tang and the ins and outs of his emotional state, which is a little messed up because the actions in which he is deciding to partake in are a little crazy, but this path he's going down, it's wild, you don't understand it, but at the same time, you're like, yeah, I mean, I get what he's saying and what he's trying to do. And so he's trying to right some wrongs, but going about it in the wrong way. But it makes for such a fascinating story And again, all of this coming together made for a really fun experience. Instead of 8 episodes, maybe we could have gotten away with 6. Regardless, I had a great time with this. Before I give you my score, leave your thoughts and comments down below. Did you enjoy A Killer Paradox? Also, if you want to drop a thumbs up, that would be awesome. Filled with intrigue and guided by some spectacular editing, this crime thriller twists and turns in ways that make it worth investing in. It's a roller coaster ride, but one that I enjoyed. Probably wouldn't go on it again, but this makes for a fun one-time watch, and I am curious to see what you all think down below. Don't leave on the screen. We've got more reviews, and stay tuned. This weekend, I'm talking about the brand new Lisa Frankenstein movie. Is that going to be good? I have no clue. Bye-bye.